This is the morning of the 25th of November. The clip, The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, 11/24/25. Got to listen to what he has to say. This plays for about 19 minutes.
Well, Donald Trump will continue to do damage until the last day he is in office. Mad kings, dictators, and tyrants of all sorts continue to do some damage until their last days, even when their regimes are collapsing the way Donald Trump is collapsing tonight. He wears his collapse on his face. You can see last week's Epstein files defeat with a unanimous vote of the Congress against Donald Trump on his face. You can see it right there. A unanimous vote of the Republican Senate against Donald Trump. It's right there on his face. Something he thought was impossible until he was told it was about to happen. You can see the exhaustion from the desperate scheming all year about how to keep the Epstein files hidden. You can see the lost confusion in the only president in history who does not know what a tariff is and cannot understand why his voters who pay those tariffs don't love them. You can see the 79-year-old man who gets very little sleep, bewildered about how he is losing his grip on the Republican Party. He looks right there in that image on the verge of surrender. Donald Trump's decline and fall continued today when a federal judge dismissed the Donald Trump-directed prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey and current New York State Attorney General Letitia James. In rulings full of legal language about how to properly appoint a U.S. attorney or a temporary U.S. attorney, but those rulings were really against the madness of Donald Trump. The madness of Donald Trump entered that judge's courtroom in the person of an illegally appointed prosecutor chosen by Donald Trump, and today that judge said no. But on a day when Donald Trump failed to hurt the people he hates the most, the people whose names he knows, like James Comey and Letitia James, Donald Trump continued his deadly and largely invisible rampage against the world's most defenseless people, the people living in famine zones and underserved medical regions of the world, where in the 21st century alone, the United States Agency for International Development saved 91 million lives, according to an estimate in a British medical journal. 91 million lives saved through bipartisan Democrat and Republican humanitarian efforts of Republican presidents and Democratic presidents, including even Donald Trump in his first presidential term. But this time, Donald Trump gave Elon Musk the keys to the federal government and said, do whatever you want. And so the man who grew up in Africa as a beneficiary of South Africa's system of apartheid decided it was time to cut off all aid from this country to the most vulnerable people on earth. People kept alive thanks to the distribution of AIDS medicine in Africa in a program created by Republican President George W. Bush, a program that has saved 25 million lives. Elon Musk said no more. Not one more life will be saved by the United States. That was Elon Musk's plan. Elon Musk said, not one more mouth will be fed, no matter how bad the famine is anywhere in the world, by the United States. Medical supplies wasted away on loading docks with their expiration dates approaching. And food supplies shipped by the United States to save lives rotted on loading docks around the world. We'll discuss more of the suffering that Donald Trump has inflicted on these people later in this program with Dr. Atul Gawande, a former USAID official who has reported on the situation for The New Yorker. Those people starving tonight do not know that Donald Trump's powers are slipping away. Those people starving tonight do not know Elon Musk's name. The mothers who will die because they've been denied their AIDS medication might not know who took it away, and Donald Trump might not even know that he did that. But Elon Musk knows what he did, and Bill Gates knows what Elon Musk did. Bill Gates called it the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children. The most recent estimate is 400,000 children dead this year because Elon Musk wanted to try his hand at government. Elon Musk came up with the name Department of Government Efficiency because the acronym for that, which I have never used, is actually the name of a cryptocurrency that Elon Musk is invested in, and Elon Musk thought that was very funny. And now, with Donald Trump being judged a failure in every poll of his presidential job performance, the Trump retreat is underway. And the Department of Government Efficiency, we discovered this morning, no longer exists. That doesn't exist. Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper told Reuters when asked about the Department of Government Efficiency status. Reuters reported that today at 8:37 a.m. And so Elon Musk's indefensible plaything, which produced no government efficiency but did deliver the worst cruelty the United States has ever visited upon people outside of war, is no more. In its heyday, the Elon and Donald show lit up the Oval Office. The room filled with reporters and cameras, and Elon Musk never faced a question from those reporters about what he was doing to the 400,000 children who were dying because of his playing with government, because of what he did to the United States Agency for International Development. Not one question from the White House press corps to Elon Musk about that. There is no more vivid image of the decline and fall of Donald Trump than the image that was created on Friday with Donald Trump slumped in the Oval Office at the desk in defeat, offering a political surrender to the man who stood beside him in the Elon Musk position, a man 20 years younger than Elon Musk and immeasurably smarter, a man who took over that room as no one before him has ever taken over that room with Donald Trump in it. Donald Trump went from calling the man a communist lunatic to glad-handing him publicly like one of Donald Trump's beloved dictators. What we saw on Friday was Donald Trump offering an unconditional surrender. Donald Trump has not completed his first year in the second term of his presidency, and he knows he is losing so badly now that he desperately has to do something, and he has no idea what to do. And after calling for the death penalty for members of Congress who simply publicly stated military law, saying that members of the military must not follow illegal orders, even Donald Trump could figure out how insane that comment was. And so Donald Trump desperately needed to do something to change the tone. And the next person in the door was the person he called a communist lunatic. The day before Election Day in New York City, Donald Trump said, if communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds. And on Friday, Donald Trump said he was going to try to help the new mayor as much as he possibly could with federal funds. A complete reversal, a complete surrender by Donald Trump, the kind of reversal a politician offers only in defeat, only in surrender. In that statement, the day before the election in New York City, Donald Trump said, as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. And with the man he called a communist standing beside him, Donald Trump said he thinks the city is going to do very well with the new mayor. Donald Trump said he would be happy to live in New York City with the new mayor in office. Donald Trump said he would feel safe living in New York City with the new mayor in charge. That is the same Donald Trump who said a day before the election in a social media post to all of his followers, it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. That was Donald Trump's strong conviction. Donald Trump told all of his followers all over the country that a communist was trying to take over New York City, and it was Donald Trump's strong conviction that that should not happen. And if it does happen, it'll be a complete and total economic and social disaster. That was Donald Trump's strong conviction on November 3rd. A strong conviction. And 18 days later, Donald Trump on television looking completely defeated and surrendering tells all of his followers all over the country that he was lying about his strong conviction 18 days ago. And he now thinks the mayor-elect is a great guy who's going to do a great job and that the city's going to be great. And Donald Trump's going to help the great new mayor. And Donald Trump said all of that not because he liked the guy, not because he was charmed by him, not because he was charmed by his smile. Donald Trump said all that because Donald Trump is losing and Donald Trump knows it. Donald Trump said that because he is losing support all over the country. Donald Trump said that because 64% say that he is doing a terrible job on economic issues. And Donald Trump, who days ago said he doesn't want to hear the word affordability, sat slumped beside the young, vibrant affordability candidate and tried to use him as a political sign that he, Donald Trump, gets it. Donald Trump understands that the issue now is affordability, but it's a word Donald Trump can't quite say. And because Donald Trump cannot put his positions in the English language, he thought that the symbol of the new young mayor-elect and Donald Trump getting along, the symbol of Donald Trump getting along with the affordability guy would work for Donald Trump. It was pure, pathetic, losing political calculation by a loser, by a president who presided over a party that just had its worst election day imaginable all over the country, from New York to New Jersey to Pennsylvania to Virginia to Georgia to California. Everywhere there was an election, Donald Trump lost. Everywhere. And Donald Trump knows it. And Donald Trump proved once again on Friday that his words mean nothing. Donald Trump proved that every word he said against candidate Mamdani meant nothing. And that means that every word Donald Trump says in his defense about the Epstein files means nothing. It means every word Donald Trump says about everything means nothing. And Donald Trump is proving that his words mean nothing, proving that now in ways that even his least alert followers can understand. They saw Donald Trump welcome the man he called a communist lunatic and embrace him in the Oval Office. And so Trump followers now see Donald Trump lose not only what they thought were Donald Trump's superpowers, but actually losing in a confrontation with a 34-year-old politician running in his first important election. Donald Trump tried to destroy Zohran Mamdani, and the young man beat the old man. And the old man formally surrendered to the young man and did it on TV. That image captures the decline and fall of Donald Trump as no other image has yet captured. Friday was the day that Donald Trump's previously devoted follower, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, announced that she would not run for re-election after Donald Trump's relentless attacks on her because she believed the Epstein files should be released. In announcing that she would not run for re-election next year and would resign from Congress on January 5th, Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "Standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked, and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States." But it did. That is exactly the way it happened. Donald Trump loved Marjorie Taylor Greene until she said the Epstein files should be released. And then Donald Trump considered her a traitor. So yes, Donald Trump considers Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor because, as she put it, she stood up for women who were trafficked and raped at 14. You do that and Donald Trump thinks you're a traitor. She stood up for women who were used by rich and powerful men, including the man who was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years. And if you do that, Donald Trump calls you a traitor. Jeffrey Epstein said he was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years. Donald Trump said Jeffrey Epstein was a terrific guy at the height of that friendship. 5:38 a.m. is no time for anyone to be tweeting. But 79-year-old Donald Trump has never slept well, and now in his agony of defeat, with the Epstein files closing in on him, with his attempts to prosecute the people he hates failing, and with the unanimous vote of a Republican Congress against him last week, Donald Trump took to social media at 5:38 a.m. this morning and posted the stupidest thing ever said by a president or anyone in the federal government in history on tariffs, and no news organization bothered to pick it up. There's no story in the New York Times today about the President of the United States saying that his tariffs are, quote, being charged to other countries. At 5:38 a.m. this morning, a totally deranged Donald Trump tweeted about, quote, the massive amount of money being made by the United States of America, hundreds of billions of dollars, as a direct result of tariffs being charged to other countries. I repeat, no tariff issued by the United States has ever been charged to another country. No one in the history of the federal government has ever believed that that was possible. No one in the American news media has ever believed that that was possible, except at Fox, of course. It would be like the President of the United States saying the Atlantic Ocean is on the west coast of the United States, and for that comment to pass without remark by nearly all of the national news media. An utterly insane, demented statement indicating the complete collapse of neurological function in a president of the United States. And it's virtually ignored. Every penny of Donald Trump's tariff flows into the United States Treasury, and every penny comes from an American paying those tariffs. Those tariffs are paid only inside the United States of America on goods purchased by us from other countries. And Donald Trump told this deranged lie in the absurd hope of persuading the United States Supreme Court to find that his tariffs are not illegal and unconstitutional. Donald Trump ended his social media post at 5:38 a.m. this morning saying, I look so much forward to the United States Supreme Court's decision on this urgent and time-sensitive matter. I look so much forward. That's the kind of prose construction that makes it convincing that Donald Trump wrote that himself. And it is deranged. And because the American news media has simply accepted and internalized the fact that the president is deranged, his written lie at 5:38 a.m. became ignorable by the major news media. Exactly 7 hours later, a federal judge ruled that Donald Trump's illegally appointed federal prosecutor, who had never prosecuted a case before, Lindsay Halligan, could not continue trying to prosecute James Comey and Letitia James, and the cases against them were dismissed by the judge because of the illegal appointment of that prosecutor. And so the Trump presidency is ramping down tonight. People like James Comey and Letitia James, who are equally strong, both strong enough to protect themselves from Donald Trump's madness, will continue to defeat Donald Trump. Younger, smarter politicians will continue to beat Donald Trump, as the mayor-elect of New York has done. And younger, smarter Republican politicians will continue to abandon Donald Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene might not be smarter than a lot of people, but she is smarter than Donald Trump. And she's much younger than Donald Trump. And she has had enough of Donald Trump. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first Republican to abandon the sinking ship of Donald Trump. But as Donald Trump's decline and fall continues, Marjorie Taylor Greene will not be the last Republican to abandon Donald Trump. After this break, Congressman Jamie Raskin, will join us.
So, got a question. You've heard me talk about the Supreme Court being pretty much worthless. There's no more important decision that they can rule on than on Trump's illegal tariffs. But from my understanding, they're not going to do it until June or July, which is completely insane. I'll attach the link. Look at it. You know what Lawrence O'Donnell thinks, and you sure as hell know what I think, don't you? I can't do this alone, folks. Pass it along, and thanks for listening.